Awakened Radio at awakenedradio.net. We really are more than an online radio station. We're more like a family working together as a team so that we all succeed. If you'd like more information of how to host your own show, how to get your message out to our global listening audience, come on over to awakenedradio.net. Look at the top under the banner where it says services. Check us out. Or you can add Awakened Radio to your Skype and just message Donna. She'll be more than happy to talk to you about how you can join the Awakened Radio family and share your message, your passion with our ever-growing global audience. Peace. Did you know Awakened Radio has a store slap full of gemstone jewelry, stones, crystals, Donna Devane's autographed books, healing sessions, all sorts of interesting and exciting things. And because Awakened Radio is celebrating our first birthday throughout the month of November, when you visit awakenedradio.net and click Awaken Store, look there for a special coupon code that will save you money when you use it at your checkout. It's our way of saying super duper thank you and celebrate the Awakened Radio first birthday with us. Hey, do me a favor. Invite all your friends to our birthday party. The whole month of November, we're going to be celebrating not only with sales in the stores, but with giveaways and contests and all sorts of fun stuff. Join us, awakenedradio.net. We're going to have fun on this playground.
Welcome to your Unfolding Senses. I'm your host, Ragozzine. And on this show, we'll be exploring everything intuition. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Rob Ragozzine. Welcome to the show. Feel free to call in with your questions on Skype or join us on the chat room at awakenedradio.net, and I'll get the number for you momentarily. If you join us on the site at the chat room, then we'll have. Sorry about that. The number is 334-649-7204, and you can join us on the air by in the chat room, coming to the chat room, or calling in via Skype or your phone. And last week we talked about putting your question, any question that you might have had, out to the universe and treating the world as your oracle. This week I want to talk about getting clear so you can have good reception, as they might say, getting rid of the static and being open to receiving your messages. I have a neat quote from Sharon Salzberg about this. She says, "Imagine taking a very small glass of water and putting into it a teaspoon of salt. Because of the small size of the container, the teaspoon of salt is going to have a big impact upon the water. However, if you approach a much larger body of water, such as a lake, and put the teaspoon of salt into that, it won't have the same intensity because of the vastness and openness of the vessel receiving it. Even when the salt remains the same, the spaciousness of the vessel receiving it will change everything. We spend a lot of our lives looking for a feeling of safety or protection. We try to alter the amount of salt that comes our way. Ironically, the salt is the very thing that we cannot do anything about, as life changes and offers us repeated ups and downs. Our true work is to create a container so immense that any amount of salt, even a truckload, can come into it without affecting our capacity to receive it. No situation, even an extreme one, then can mandate a particular reaction. So she's talking about being able to step out of the static and the chaos and being open and able to see what's around you, being able to be in tune. So, in order to be clear, I think one of the best things anyone can really know about intuition is that we already know. You already know what you're asking for. It's just getting clear and finding a way to really listen. We can really get messages from our intuition in different ways, though. It might be words. It might be something from the radio or television. It might be something you see in nature. It might be something you're saying to yourself inside your head or maybe out loud. Maybe you're talking to yourself. Take the time to listen and see what you're saying to yourself or someone else is saying. It might be a visual image. It might be a dream. It might be that you're feeling nervous or have butterflies in your stomach. It might be that you have a cringing sensation, sweating. You might have your hair standing on end. It's important to pay attention to these events. They're all pointing to something that's important. So it might be that you have a feeling of being really hot or maybe very cold. So maybe you actually have the little hairs in the back of your neck stand up. It's about saying, okay, what am I recognizing? You might have pets, and you might recognize that they sense things before you even can sense it at all. So pay attention to them too. So the next step after that is to really ask yourself, well, how does my intuition help me? How does it warn me? How does it guide me? And it doesn't always have to be a warning. It could be preparing you for something good or something, very beneficial. It doesn't have to be always a warning. It could be something just in your typical day, like it's time to get up, and if you get up at this moment, you'll meet that person you were expecting to meet on your walk. But if you're not following your instincts, then you won't necessarily have these synchronous events or be able to understand what your intuition is actually telling you. So you might begin to question yourself and ask, when you're getting your voice in your head saying, okay, maybe I forgot to lock the door, I have to get up. And you get up, and 9 times out of 10, the door's already locked, but the 10th time it's unlocked. So you paid attention to that little voice, and you locked it. And maybe the rest of the time there was something else you need to notice in your environment, that your immediate environment, that you, by staying in bed, you missed. Maybe you would have seen the full moon as you passed the windows to the door, and it might have inspired you to do something, maybe create a painting. I know some of this might sound strange, but whatever you feel inspired to is really part of your intuition. So if you felt that nudge to get up and check the door, get up and be observant along the way. Maybe you'll look out the window and see the most beautiful moon you ever saw, and that might inspire you to, like I said, do a painting or watch a movie about the moon or something like that. Who knows? The possibilities are limitless, and it's really following these little inner nudges that we all get. So the next time that happens, write it down, record it some way, and follow your heart and go do what you feel pulled to do, as long as it's not dangerous. Go do that. Maybe you will notice something along the way. So next time you feel like switching lanes and you get the inner urge to not, recognize that's your intuition, and then as you see the car whiz by that you hadn't seen, recognize your intuition again talking. I was just reading an article about fruit flies and their amazing vision, and they have something like 20,000 receptors or whatever, and we have billions. And scientists were trying to figure out how they see so well versus how we see, and a lot of it might not even be with the eyes. They're speculating the brain may see more than we actually perceive through our eyes. It's kind of a strange little thought, but just be open to tapping into your senses to realize that you might be seeing more than you immediately recognize. So let's get back to some questions about past intuitive moments that you might not have recognized. Maybe you picked up the phone and somebody was on the other end and you already knew that they were there. Maybe you knew in your bones that someone was lying. Maybe you felt that something exciting had happened for a loved one. Maybe you felt that a loved one was in trouble, or you had to be somewhere or not somewhere. Have you ever paid attention to those triggers before? Maybe you did, and you received some sort of clarity around that event. Again, it's important to go back and really pay attention to these events. And you might not get immediate results from recording your little intuitive hits. Just pay attention at first and see what comes of it. It's really being clear when you think you've had an intuitive moment and paying attention to it and trying to connect with it in some way. By writing it down, that's a really good first step. You're getting more clear about when your intuitive triggers happen. Steve Marabelli says, it's a lack of clarity that creates chaos and frustration. Those emotions are poison to any living goal. So it's really sorting through all of the chaos that we're normally dealing with on a day-to-day basis and recognizing, yeah, I thought I had an intuitive message come to me, an intuitive nudge, but I let it go. I pushed it aside. So what keeps you from noticing? What feeds that chaos in your life? You don't have to, but it's best to find a way to step out of that chaos. Find a way to slow down. What events are keeping you from feeling stressed and out of control? And now it's not necessarily about leaving or changing how you react to them, but perhaps stepping out of any drama that's creating these events, and then recognizing why you're pushing away the feelings and the sensations anyway. If you're interested in your intuition, it's really about connecting back to them because they're trying to keep you out of the chaos. Now, if you have any examples of your own, you might want to call in and talk about that. 334-649-7204, or pop into the chat room, awakenradio.net. A lot of people find themselves in their car and they're driving somewhere, and then they zone out, and all of a sudden you're there. Again, that's a time when it's dangerous not to be paying attention, and you really should be not connecting to all the chaotic moments and all the stress and the worries, but finding a way to sort through all that and really focus on yourself to be more connected to your immediate environment. So paying attention to your food that you eat, letting go of the inner critic or other voices that are rambling on and on. Really good technique that you might look into is voice dialogue. There's many good books available on the subject and many good trainings available. Really helps you to connect to and find out what these inner voices need or want. And letting other people distract us is a big one, especially if you're driving in the car and then you tune them out and you tune everything out, and now you're just driving, in a different zone. So how can you really help once you find a way to begin to sift through all these stuff? How can you let intuition help you? Well, that's the goal. It's to hear it and find a way to tap into its wisdom. And often the wisdom is coming from the signals that your body produces, like the hairs standing up on the back of your neck or your arms. And often we're getting these without even realizing it. And you might be amazed at some of the things that you're already doing intuitive, I think. So you're trying to really understand what these things mean for you without washing them aside, and what they mean for you. So you might be seeing images of a butterfly or a dragonfly and wondering what that means for you. And you might say, well, I'll go get a book and read about it, but it's really not in the book, it's in you. The message is in you, whether it's through words or sounds or smells. It doesn't matter. It's related to you. So again, let the book go, at least in the beginning, and work on trying to find the message for yourself. Be curious about what the guidance these symbols are trying to bring you, no matter whether they're personal body sensations or outer symbols like the moon that you might have noticed as you went to unlock the door. You can consider these your mini visions, and they have a message and purpose and maybe offering clues and guidance that can better help you navigate and get around life. But you have to be willing to take the time to both understand the message and really integrate some sort of solution into your life, whatever it is. It might be something really simple that you're feeling pulled to do. Just try to find a way to do that, such as lock the door, get up and lock the door. You might not notice anything, but something might happen where you do have the event where you see the moon and things. Then you might have a sensation after you see the moon to take a trip or do something else. It really depends on you and what you're triggered to do. And it's about being willing to dig deeper and ask the important questions and having a curious mind. But of course, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Be discerning and still allow your life to unfold in new and unexpected ways. So we're really talking about simply paying attention to your intuition and instincts. And over time, you might gradually discover that you have some new ability, like to be in the right place or situation at the right time. But don't latch on to the idea that intuition will come like a flash of lightning. It happens when it happens. So be patient and let the message come to you in its own time. Don't expect the intuition to happen necessarily when anyone else is watching or talking to you. Maybe it'll take some time to be alone. That's often the best time for intuition to come to us, is when we're alone and we're sitting silently and just pondering a particular question. And maybe it's happening when we're just going about our normal day. Let the intuition happen when it happens. And I think being curious is the big thing here, because once you start asking questions, you start getting more curious, and then our imagination kicks in and we start to wonder, what if we do something? And then our potential becomes more and more limitless, and we can really then benefit from our intuition, because we'll start to act more from a place of curiosity than a place of fear or doubt or whatever it is. We'll just try some new restaurant or try a trip by ourselves, or just whatever it is that we're doing, we'll be willing to step into it and go for it with gusto. So a really simple exercise you might try here is to try some simple statements or questions, so you can begin to really believe more in yourself and your intuition. So one that works for me is I know what's best for myself. So simply saying that. Ask a question like, what should I do about so-and-so? Maybe whatever your question is. So maybe you're pondering what to do with a particular person you're having trouble with, and then stating, I know what's best for myself already, or I know what's best for myself, and then allowing an answer to come, but also using that statement to really tap into the inner recesses to get an answer, because as we talked about before, it's about being clear and recognizing that a lot of answers are already there. And then maybe another question you might try is, what's the best outcome here? And being open to whatever intuitive hit happens. Maybe you'll see yourself getting out of a car and shaking this person's hand and then driving away as you get back into the car and drive away. So whatever that means for you, maybe it means you're making amends with this person, maybe it means you're saying goodbye. See, it really depends on you and how does the situation feel. Looking at it is almost a mini dream image, and feeling into it. Does it feel tense? Does it feel happy? Does it feel just okay? And then really puzzling yourself around the question and trying to come up with an answer to it. Another question you might try is, what will help me right now? So again, being open to receiving the intuition. So maybe you asked about a person you were having trouble with, and then ask this, and you suddenly feel calm and peaceful, and that might signal maybe you don't have to do anything at all about the situation, and it will resolve itself. Another statement you might try is, I'll have the guidance as I need it. So not stressing out about it, not getting caught up in the chaos around it, and really trying to just be accepting and going more with the flow. For me, I remember as well, not as a child, but more, I guess, as a teenager, just being open to just wandering around the mall. I'm not advocating this, I guess, and I remember going on a trip. I think we were at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. I'm not sure where. I think it was there, but I was a little lazy, and I was in the bathroom, and everyone left, and then I got separated from my group. But then I said, well, I'll find them. They're not leaving without me. And like 20 minutes later, I found where they'd been, and then one of my friends said, I knew you were lost, and they didn't say anything. That was kind of silly, but anyway, it's about really feeling good about yourself and not getting caught in the tension. You might try it. A lot of people try it with connecting it with the law of attraction, and then going gambling, and then losing all their money. But the trick is to feel good and not to be connected with what the money represents necessarily, but just being in the joy of the moment, so not having an issue. And then it'll be more fluid, and you'll be able to connect with that. But we're really talking about intuition here anyway. So it's really about getting in touch with the feelings, and that's what's most important with the intuition. What are the feelings trying to tell me? Whether they're internal or external or bodily. Maybe the hairs stand up on our neck, as I was talking about before. Our shoulders get tense, or we feel queasy or nervous. Whatever it is, paying attention to how it works most for you. Carl Jung says your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. So we're really talking about, again, the clarity. When you're calm and paying attention to your intuition, things will work out. W. Clement Stone says, to solve a problem or to reach a goal, You don't need to know all the answers in advance, but you must have a clear idea of the problem or goal you want to reach. Really, I'm talking about all these warning signals and sensations and insights, wherever they are in your brain, your heart, your body, your head, whatever, wherever they are, they're legitimate and very valuable. And they're placed there for a reason. And again, the problem is we're just not paying attention to them because sometimes we're confused about it. We don't realize that it can be serious, or we just don't understand how it's trying to guide us in the situation that we found ourselves in. And one of the greatest ways to really step into clarity is to calm your mind. And even 5 minutes of meditation a day can really help, and it'll really boost the likelihood that you'll be able to pay more attention to your intuition. So you might try a simple breathing in and out. If you haven't worked with meditation, just sit silently on a bench or on the floor or the ground or wherever you are. If you're outside in nature at the beach, just sit down on the beach and breathe in and breathe out. And take 5 minutes to do that, just breathing in, breathing out. If you're in the mall, you might try the same thing, sitting on a bench, of course, just breathing in and out. You don't have to close your eyes, just breathe in, breathe out. And visualize that you're letting go of the chaos, the stress, the tension, letting it all go. As I mentioned last week, Tonglen can help with this process. It's a Buddhist meditation practice where you're breathing in the chaos and the static, and you're transforming it in your heart and letting it go as something good, like joy, ease, calm, and you're releasing it out into the world. So you're not only helping yourself, you're helping the world to be a better place, more at ease, more relaxed. And it doesn't have to be complex and difficult. It can be simple. Sit down on the bench again. Breathing in, you might bring your hand to your heart. Breathe in your tension. So I'd say I'm breathing in my tension. I'm transforming my tension. I'm releasing my tension as ease. And you don't have to have all those words for it. You could just name it as tension and feel it transform and releasing it as ease. And do it for 5 minutes and feel relaxed. And you may recognize that over time this process really helps. And again, you can read almost any one of Pema Chodron's books or articles, and she talks about it all the time. Very helpful. And again, you might simply try the simple breathing in and out exercise. And you might look into Zen meditation, where we can talk about later, which again is very simple. So we'll be taking a break soon. So if you want to join us, it's 334-649-7204, or call in with Skype by adding Awaken Radio to Skype or awakenradio.net and joining us in the chat room. Any questions that you might have, please feel free to connect with us and ask those questions, especially if you've had an intuitive hit and you actually responded to it. Let me know. We can talk about that. Or if you've had a dream or vision of some kind, we can work out what the symbolism might mean. Let us know, and we'll work with that coming up.
And now a word from our Awakened Radio sponsors. AwakenedRadio.net is brought to you by AwakenedRadio.net host and those who support our station by shopping at our Awakened store and by making loving contributions and donations to our station each month. We are also supported by TheBarefootGuru.com. Thank you so much for your love and support of the Awakened Radio Network at awakenedradio.net. Awakened Radio, awakenedradio.net. We're all about the new FM frequency. Are you maybe having a hard time getting word out, sharing your message about your book, your product, your coaching, your healing services? Well, check out the Awakened store at awakenedradio.net. Donna Devane has a brand new course set up just for you. We'll guide you through the different types of broadcasting, how to really communicate with your listening audience in a way that they are ready for your message. No more hard sales pitches. No more sounding or feeling like a used car salesman. Come on over to awakenedradio.net today. Check out our Awakened store. The tab is right up under our banner, and go to Divine Connections. I'll be more than happy to help you get your message out to our growing global audience. Radio is brought to you proudly by the Creative Playground Mastermind. You can take part in a mastermind group by visiting www.thebarefootguru.com. The Creative Mastermind Group helps you to create a playground where you get to experience your life the way you really want it to be. Thank you so much, and visit www.thebarefootguru.com today.
Welcome to your Unfolding Senses. I'm your host, Ragozzine, and on this show, we'll be exploring everything intuition. Let's get started. Hello, we're back again. Dial in via Skype or phone 334-649-7204 or Awakened Radio in Skype, or join us awakenradio.net in the live chat room. And we're talking about getting clear so that we can better connect with our intuition, and getting calm so that we can really benefit from our intuition. And some other ways other than meditation to get calm are things such as staying away from whatever is causing your mind to be unfocused and distracted, such as coffee or any kind of stimulants. Stay away from them. I know we all like our coffee, but sometimes it keeps us away from our intuition and keeps us stressed out and keeps us from sleeping as much as we'd like. And that's the next thing, getting a decent amount of rest. So coffee keeps you up, so try whatever's good for you. Water, obviously, very helpful here. Again, positive self-talk with help if you need it can be very helpful. I mentioned voice dialogue before. You might try that, or some type of support group or therapy, whatever helps. Slowing down, finding ways to just slow down in your daily life. And one of the last things I want to mention is gratitude, really having an ability to be grateful for everything that you have, however limited you might think that is, or however expansive it is, being grateful for everything that you have. So going back to slowing down, because I think it's really, really important, is some ideas, getting up earlier, maybe squeezing in some exercise. I've recently started to get up earlier. I previously had been setting my alarm clock to like 5:30, and I'd always sleep an extra half hour, couldn't get up. Set it to 5 o'clock, I'm up, bing, bam, as soon as the alarm goes off, and I'm off to start my day. Whatever is easier for you. Maybe you need to have the alarm clock, maybe you don't. So try to find a way to maybe get up earlier, or schedule your day so that you have more downtime. Maybe getting to work earlier so that you can have your coffee and get ready for the day. Not give up everything that you feel good about necessarily, so you don't have to necessarily get rid of the coffee right away. Maybe getting to meetings earlier so you can walk around outside, breathe and relax, practice some sort of meditation in the moment. Maybe when you get home, take a walk outside, be more aware of your neighborhood. Again, we're talking about being more aware, so walking around and greeting your neighbors or just being aware of what's going on in the area. Maybe have free days where you can do nothing at all, to wander around the neighborhood or wander around and just somewhere get lost. Who knows? Remind yourself to take time out to breathe. Throughout the day, maybe put little sticky notes somewhere, car dashboard, office desk, everywhere. Again, appreciate and have gratitude for your partner, family, friends. And then a really good question to ask is, well, when I do slow down, whenever that might be, what do I enjoy doing when I'm slowing down? And make more time for that in your life. So no matter how strange or odd it might seem, if you like modeling, building models, not modeling, or maybe you do like modeling. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, go do more of that in your free time. If you like flying kites, go fly a kite. Whatever helps you to slow down, feel relaxed, at ease. We're really talking about connecting with ourselves, and that's how we connect with intuition. Gratitude. A good question to ask is, what are my most proud accomplishments? Now, it doesn't have to be something you did years ago. You can look at your proud accomplishments for the day, the week, the month, the year, longer if you want, and then being happy with what comes to mind, being happy with who you are. That could help to calm your mind. Donna's mentioning in the chat room that she connects through gardening, and an interesting piece of research that came out a few years ago was that the bacteria in the soil triggers serotonin, which helps us to really calm down. So the shamans of old might have had something by walking around in their bare feet and connecting with the earth in that way. And so by gardening, you're really releasing serotonin, and that really helps you to feel, again, less stressed and more relaxed. And, of course, if you're gardening and with gloves, you're not going to get the serotonin benefit. And then, as you're asking, what are my most proud accomplishments, you might record any insights that you're getting from this question. So maybe something that you hadn't thought about suddenly strikes you as really powerful and makes you feel really good. Whatever challenged you to help you grow and inspired you to be a better person, or to showed you that you could do something that you thought you couldn't do, really helps in being grateful for all of your experiences. Once we've done this, you can even have regular exercise where you spend 5 minutes a day just thinking about what you're grateful for that day, and that could be part of your slowing down and helping your mind to become calm. So once you've done that, it might be a really good time to ask your question, if you have a question that day. So ask the question, and then next step will be believing and having faith and being patient that there is an answer to your question. It might not be an immediate answer, but just believing that you will have an answer. And maybe, as I mentioned before, going through some of the statements or questions that I was mentioning about believing that there was an answer, saying, I already know the answer, I see myself having this issue solved, or something like that. The next step will be to be open to your answer. So believing that you'll receive an answer, and then being open to actually receiving the answer. Trust it once you have it. You might want to review it, and then finally apply the answer to your life in some way. So after you've reviewed it, you might come to a conclusion that the image that you received with shaking hands with the person you're having difficulties with, as I talked about before, felt okay. So maybe it meant making amends and going and doing that in some way. A simple exercise that you can do in your head that's very easy to do. You can visualize yourself and that person together and handing each other a rose and saying, I'm sorry, if that helps. So you're making amends internally, and then when you meet the person out in the outer world, it might be a little bit easier to make the amends. And so if you want to work with your answers more deeply, you've reviewed it, you still don't understand it, you might, again, have to go back and dig a little deeper and ask some questions. So you might, one that I always like to ask is, what do you have to offer me? And then write down, record in some way what the answer is. Now, maybe words don't work for you as well as other people, so you might record imagery. You might do a piece of artwork around what the guidance has to offer you. You might dance out what the guidance has to offer you. Don't feel constricted to have to record it in a journal, although that can be really helpful so you can go back later to these common symbols that you have. Maybe for various other people, you might have the same imagery come to you, and it's good to have that recorded so that you can reflect on it later. But to really answer the questions, you might need to go and do something else in order to come up with the answer. So artwork or singing or dancing might help you to come up with the answer as it's moving and shifting how you feel and energy within you. It'll help you to make a shift and feel different after you're done, and maybe you'll be calmer and more relaxed and be able to connect more deeply to the message. Another question, what is your guidance? So asking directly to the symbol, what are you trying to bring me? In a more direct way other than what you have to offer me, what is your guidance? What have I forgotten about? Maybe you've forgotten about something that's really important. Maybe you've forgotten about this person really helped you get through some important events, and you've really forgotten all about that and are letting one issue get in the way. Again, it's really important to be discerning when you're asking these questions. So sometimes you might get an answer that doesn't feel right to you. So keep asking questions, being discerning, and going deeper and deeper. And when the answer feels totally right and correct for you, or at least feels clear and like it can be helpful, then work with that answer. One question that might help you to do that is, where do I need to be clear and focused in my life? So if you're struggling with getting clear about what the guidance is trying to guide you with, you can simply ask, where do I need to be clear and focused? Maybe you're trying and straining too hard to come up with an intuitive answer to your problem, and you probably already have the answer anyway in somewhere in your brain, or it might be simply getting up and going out and shaking the person's hand and saying I'm sorry and letting the event go, rather than struggling with it and trying to come up with some sort of new way when the answer is very simple. Another question is, how can I manifest my dreams right now? So maybe you really want a more deeper connection with this person. Maybe you can just go say that if we're really being discerning. Just rather than struggling with it, go say, I really want a relationship with you on a deeper level. Lastly, you might say, how can I sharpen my intuition so that I can be clearer on what my guidance is telling me? Again, you'll want to keep a log of some kind so you can track your questions, sightings, and answers. And over time, you may notice a common thread to your answers, and maybe all of the intuition is guiding you in one particular direction. And by keeping the log, you'll notice more about the common thread, and maybe this thread will give you a greater course of action that you can take. For instance, you might notice that your answers lead to a particular emotion or feeling. You might then look to see more deeply to see where these feelings and emotions are in your life right now, and see how you're typically expressing or reacting to them. So if you want a deeper relationship with someone and you're feeling like you have to hide from them, there's a conflict there. So again, be discerning, recognizing that the symbols are guiding you, but you feel somehow inhibited and don't know how to connect with them. So that might be another question that you can ask: how can I best connect with you? Maybe you have to connect with yourself first before you can connect with them on a deeper level. Don't be afraid to explore. Your discoveries can be really part of a much larger process that you're really helping to unfold as you're exploring. So as you uncover things, it's like peeling an onion. You find deeper and deeper layers. And as an example, you might think that a particular symbol is saying it's good or okay to be in relationship with this person, but because you talk with someone else and they had similar symbols, but their symbols are their symbols again, and your signs and symbols are yours. For me, I often see like keys in a lock saying that's okay, but that might again mean something else for you. So again, going back to discernment, you might ask how the symbols relate to past or the future, and did they mean the same thing as they did in the past? So to really uncover more and more of the meaning for you, because if you're getting the same symbols over and over, they obviously have some importance for you. Now, to really go deeper, we might look to another tool like numerology to help us have some greater clarity around the events and situations that we may find ourselves in a particular year. Because numerology talks about the personal year, which lasts from one birthday in 1 year to the next, and that's your personal year. And there's 9 different years. For instance, the 1 year is all about new beginnings and opportunities and rebirth and renewal. The number 1 relates to magician and the tarot, and the 9 year is all about endings and recognition, freedom, change, a lot of personal shifts, and the 9 relates to the hermit and the tarot, and you might begin to work with these cards for the year as you enter that particular personal year. You can calculate your personal year, or I can calculate it for you on my site, blog.simplynumbers.com, and go into the Tools tab on the top, and you'll see personal year highlighted in there, and you click add your birthday in there, and it'll give you guidance on how to calculate it, which is the year of your month and day of your birth to the current year. So if you're born in September, the current year would be 2012, but if you're born in December, the current year for you would still be 2011. 11 because you haven't had a birthday yet, because we didn't have December yet in 2012. But that's a little bit deeper than you need to know for now, but you can calculate that along with your life path and your other numbers, which can be very helpful. What I really want to cover is some questions to ask that might help you to connect with the energy of your personal year and your intuition. So you might ask, how can I be of service at this time, not only to others, but to yourself and to your intuition? So you can think of it sort of as a twist. How can I help you? That could be really helpful in discerning better guidance, because now you're trying to be open and available to it versus pushing it away. How can my voice be heard? So sometimes to get really clear, you really have to hear yourself, and other people have to hear you too. So this can be really helpful at the start of the year and throughout the year. How can my intentions help me at this time? What are my intentions? Again, being clear really helps here. Maybe you don't know what your intentions and goals are, so get clear on that. Am I willing to do the work that needs to be done? Where is my enthusiasm needed at this time? All very good questions to be very helpful to really receive a benefit for whatever year you might be in. And then you might go deeper by asking where the qualities that the year represents are in your life right now. So in the 9-year, we're really talking about a lot about education and wisdom and perhaps mentorship and things of that nature. So you might ask, where is that in my life now? How am I helping this, using this to help my growth? And if we're talking about mentorship, how am I helping others to step up? What am I building or creating right now? What new idea am I bringing out into the world? Now, the 9-year, that might not be so beneficial a question, because we're really talking about a lot about change and education and learning and reviewing what we've learned over the past 9 years. But still a very helpful question to ask at any time, but to recognize that certain things might have to be let go or released in a 9-year versus in a 1 year, where we're taking on more new projects or new ideas and initiating them. And 1 is about initiation, and 9 is about transition, change, and endings. So really being aware of where you are numerologically in your current 9-year cycle, and being more involved with your life and being in tune with the cycles that you're in. And as always, really waiting for your answers to come and recording any images, thoughts, feelings, or ideas that come up as you're asking these questions. It may take time, so be patient. And as always, if you're asking them at the beginning of the year, it's a new year again with new characteristics and qualities and strengths and weaknesses that you can rely on that might be triggered. Be calm and patient, and it may take time for your answer to come to you. But again, you don't have to be overly serious. Try to have fun with it. It might help you to open up. You're really trying to find ways to work with your insights in a way that's encouraging and empowering, and being aware of where you are might help you to be more aware of what you could be working on, what you could be asking for, versus struggling to change and to say, I want to be there. Well, you're here. And by allowing things to happen versus struggling with change, you'll allow yourself to be more fluid, more dynamic. Now, I mentioned the tarot cards for the 1 and the 9. So the Magician was the tarot card for the 1 year, and the Hermit is the card for the 9 year. Hierophant is the card for the 2-year, or the High Priestess, not the Hierophant, sorry, wrong word. Empress for the 3-year, Emperor for the 4-year, Hierophant for the 5-year, Lovers in the 6-year, Chariot in the 7-year, Strength in the 8-year. So you have a place for these cards where you can put them out and look at them throughout the whole year and really ask questions of them as if they're people in your life. So you might make time to regularly talk with the magician in a 1-year and ask him questions about, of course, new beginnings, but also how can I use the energy of this time to be more aware of myself, more intuitive, and that might help you to be more fluid, dynamic, and able to really connect with your intuition. So that's really the core piece of it. For now, we have about 5 minutes left, so you might call in and we could answer a quick question. 334-649-7204, or joining us via Awakened Radio in Skype or awakenedradio.net online. And you can reach my site, blog.simplynumbers.com, or you can reach me, Numbers by Rob, on Facebook, or Numbers by Rob on Twitter. And feel free to tweet me a question about some of the things that we talked about tonight. It can really go a lot deeper, but it really involves getting calm in your mind and making time for some inner peace practices, whatever they might be for you. Sharon Salzberg says, a way to discover intimacy with ourselves and all of life is to live with integrity, basing our lives on a vision of compassionate, non-harming. When we dedicate ourselves to actions that do not hurt ourselves or others, our lives become all of one piece, a seamless garment, with nothing separate or disconnected. In spiritual reality we discover. So really being connected with yourself, as I've been talking about all night, and connecting with yourself and finding tools and techniques, some of them I mentioned tonight, and that can help you to really calm down, step out of the static, and step into your intuition and live life more intuitively. I hope all this helps. Again, you can email me at contactrob@simplynumbers.com or blog.simplynumbers.com and connect with me on my blog, or Numbers by Rob at Twitter or Facebook, or whatever way you feel like joining. You might join in the chat room. And again, Numbers by Rob on Twitter or awakenradio.net and the chat room. And again, 334-649-7204. I hope this all helped. And I think we're about 1 minute till the end of the broadcast. So I'd just like to ask that you might light a candle for the people that were affected by the storm this week. And just whatever's appropriate for you, light a candle and think good thoughts for them, send a prayer, say a few words of hope, or whatever it is that's appropriate for you. You can do that, and that can help to shift not only your energy, but everyone else's energy, and you'll take a little bit to step out of the stress and the chaos. And again, thank you for your support.
And now a word from our Awakened Radio sponsors. AwakenedRadio.net is brought to you by AwakenedRadio.net host and those who support our station by shopping at our Awakened store and by making loving contributions and donations to our station each month. We are also supported by thebarefootguru.com. Thank you so much for your love and support of the Awakened Radio Network at awakenedradio.net.